Hey everyone, it's Evangeline here at eTrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at the RockyMounts AfterParty 2-bike swing away platform rack and how it fits on this 2020 Chevrolet Equinox. So the AfterParty is really useful if you want to get a lot more clearance behind your vehicle. It is a bike rack, but it also swings away. It's very similar to the RockyMounts GuideRail bike rack, so definitely check that video out if you want a full look at its features. We're going to focus on the Equinox today though. So some things we want to talk about are things like tilt away or swing away. This has a tilt away function where you pull this lever, drop it down to a tilt. Great if you want quick and easy access into your hatch. So you can see here, plenty of clearance between our hatch door and our pedals and our handlebars. So if we need to grab our waters, get our backpack, switch out our shoes, we can do so with the tilt away function. And this is something you'll find on the RockyMounts GuideRail and as well. So if you don't need this swing away feature, definitely worth checking out that bike rack. Now this also swings away for full access behind your car. This is good if you're trying to do something like tailgate, camp out, use this as you're out camping. To do so, it's a little bit more of a process than the lever you just pull. Instead, you have this knob that you have to turn. So we're going to try to loosen this knob and just rotate it all the way until it disengages from the shank. This has a long thread, by the way, which is good because then it's secure to the rack, but not as good when you're in a hurry. So once this is disengaged, we'll hear it, there we go, just start to spin, and now you can pull the knob in the back and pull this bike rack out. We don't have as much space here in our garage, but we have a lot of pivot with this rack, which is very helpful if you want to get into like the perfect position. Just be careful so it doesn't swing out towards your car. So if we get a bigger view of this, you can see how there's all this space now around the car to open up our hatch, hang out here, set up our campsite, things like that. You can carry 2 bikes with this rack. It does have a 60-pound weight capacity per bike, so for your heavy electric bikes, it's gonna be a fit. Just try to take your batteries off of those electric bikes. Also be mindful that as you pivot this rack away, remember that there may be other vehicles or cars around you in your parking spots. Once it goes back into place, we're then just going to tighten down on the lever, and then we should be good to go. Some other things to think about here is what types of bikes can this carry? Well, notice it has a dual wheel mount design. So it holds on to your front and your rear wheels. The way this does it is very interesting actually. You have this little lever, and the lever activates the wheels. So when you first need to remove the bike, you just press this to slightly push that out of the way, and then you can flip the lever open and push out your front and your rear wheel mounts. That can go all the way down to make it easier for you to drop things down. And just like that, you can now grab your bike and go. If you take a look at the trace, you can see how they have different widths or groove for those different tire widths. So whether you have your thin road bike tires or your wider tires of up to 3 inches wide, this can carry them. In fact, for that trace style, you can slide your bikes back and forth for those different wheelbases. The maximum wheelbase this can carry is going to be up to 55 inches because right there is when it starts securing your bike's wheels. We're going to bring this all the way down to be more compact and neat. There we go. Let's talk about measurements. So with the pivot, does it add more length to the back of your vehicle? Let's take some measurements to find out. I measure from the bumper to the end of the rack. I have it at 27.5 inches. That's something to remember if you have a really small garage or you're trying to park into a tight spot. Another measurement is ground clearance. So ground to the rear tray, that's 23 inches. End of the rack, we have it at about 21.5 inches. Compare that to the shank, which is about 8.25 inches off the ground. So definitely a shank rise there, where it is higher up off the ground compared to where your hitch receiver is. That gives you more ground clearance, but it also means you're lifting your bikes higher up to get them onto the rack. You can fold this up too though. So remember that lever we pulled to tilt away? We're going to pull it again, but this time fold up against the vehicle. And while it looks like it comes close, there's actually plenty of clearance. I can fit my hand in there. So taking some measurements in this position, bumper to where the knob is, that's going to be 13 inches. Big difference compared to when it was folded down. Now, some thoughts about having a bike rack behind your vehicle all the time. Well, the thing about this is when you do have it folded up, you lose access to your hatch. You are going to have to bring it into the down position if you want to open up your hatch and grab something real quick. Fortunately, as you saw there, that's very quick and easy to do. Some other things is with it folded up, full visibility through your window of your taillights, but also of your license plate and your backup camera. It sits right there towards the bottom half of your license plate. So that means if you do turn on your backup camera, you will see the bike rack in your view, but you'll also be able to see if there's any cars behind you. This has a 2-inch shank, fits into a 2-inch hitch receiver. If you do not already have a hitch on your Equinox, you can find one here at eTrailer. But all in all, the RockyMounts AfterParty is a really good option if you want something that swings away. Because of the different pivot points, it doesn't just swing out 90 degrees, but the bikes also rotate. And that way, if you're trying to maneuver around different things in the parking lot, you can do so with this bike rack. If you do not need that pivot point though, definitely check out the RockyMounts GuideRail as an alternative, since you did see how the tilt-away does give us access into our hatch. But this right here was a look at the RockyMounts GuideRail 2-bike platform swing-away rack and how it fits on the 2020 Chevrolet Equinox.